When we look elsewhere and what we're dealing with, a couple of new things have emerged, notably with this latest round of advisories that the National Hurricane Center puts out. There are some spots that we're watching, but we have 7 to talk about. 7 is the newly formed tropical depression.
Yeah, no surprise that we have a full dance card out in the Atlantic, right? We just passed the peak of the hurricane season for the Atlantic Basin. So here is 7 for the 11 advisory. This is out near the Cabo Verde Island, so that wave off the western coast of Africa. At this point, Brian, I don't know if you're ready to join in, and no pressure, by the way. You've been talking a lot this morning, but when it comes to watching this, okay, then I'm going to bring you in, and you can also weigh in on 7 here, as well as everything else.
Probably Gordon.
Yeah.
Yeah, this looks like it's going to be Gordon. It's a little uncertain what it's going to do. We were pretty certain it was going to turn north into the open Atlantic. There's still a decent chance that's going to happen, but that's not 100%. The models are sort of diverging out there, but it's not going to move quickly. There's no threat to land over the next 5 days, certainly, and probably more than that. So we'll just have to see exactly how that one develops.
The other area that we're watching, there's a couple of spots in the main development region, but of particular note, and making sense of this, I know the Hurricane Center has said a non-tropical area of low pressure. It's going to involve a boundary, something that we would maybe expect this time of year as we're getting, well, I might be getting ahead of myself. We're not quite to October. But as you get later into the season, these homegrown
it's more
systems,
an October thing.
Yeah, you got to watch it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, so this is really the same front that was across the northern Gulf. And what's happening here is as the hurricane moves north, kind of pulls that front up, everything shifts to the east, and that general low pressure and spin gets off the east coast. Now, a front is non-tropical. The question is, if it sits out there over the Gulf Stream before it gets deflected back into the coastline, could it become a tropical system? The computer forecasts are that the low pressure system will form and it will come back into the Carolina coastline plus or minus, but whether it will become tropical is the low chance. There's a higher chance that some kind of low pressure system will form off the Carolina coast.
You know, watching, and I haven't really gone too deep into this one in particular, Brian, but, you know, talking about any influence of Francine, we know the moisture from Francine, those remnants are going to head north, but with that boundary's influence, could we see some influx of moisture, some influence from that also as that pushes up into the north?
I don't think it's Francine as much as it is the old front and the upper level disturbance that is kicking Francine to the north. All that energy is kind of moving to the east, and the front really kind of never goes away, and a wave develops on the front, as very often happens off the southeast coast, you know, with nor'easters and all that kind of thing, because of the variety of reasons involving the mountains and the way that systems generally track across the south. That's really, I think, where the energy is coming from, more than from Francine, although I guess some of that moisture could definitely be pulled to the east, but there's plenty of moisture over the Atlantic to start with. So I think that's probably a more typical formation off the southeast coast.
And it goes without saying, we alluded to it, this is over the next 7 days. I think over the next 48 hours, not a chance of anything development. This has just been something that's been picked up. So, yeah, we'll watch it.
All right.
Yeah, this is next week.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, well, as we mentioned, we just passed the peak of hurricane season, so we anticipated to be ready. I feel like it's like that third chapter of the season. It was busy, it was quiet, and now we're getting busy again. All right, Fox Weather Hurricane Specialist Brian Norcross, appreciate, as always, that insight.